program that I can just sort of take you through some of the studies someone else did on it. And you can see all the different stuff that goes on in there that's a mixture of all the religions, all the major religions anyway. It's all contained within that Capitol building, actually. But just yesterday, I guess, the extreme leftists or whatever, and maybe some natives as well were there. They took the Queen Victoria statue that sits out front. It's an old statue too, but she's sitting there and she's holding the world in her hand. She's got the globe in her hand, the same as sometimes you see Jesus holding the globe in his hand. So you can tie all that to, again, the mystery religion that it's going to have the whole world in its hand. And so you can see all the players in it when they hold this thing. So she's sitting there holding it for the New World in America and representing that aspect of it. And the Royals are Masons, so let's not beat around the bush here about how deep or how big the power structure actually is and the things that it does. But at any rate, they pulled that statue down. And I guess there was a smaller statue of Queen Elizabeth there. I didn't know about that one, but apparently they pulled that one down too. Well, it's about coming into a new age with all that stuff. That's why it's being allowed to happen in a sense, is that they will reform everything and we'll get our new facelift. So you go from Babylon to Greece to Rome to medieval Europe to, I guess you could say, the Renaissance period, which leads up to the modern days, and now it's going to sort of get another facelift again. And at the head of all this stuff too, a lot of times, like I say, is the World Economic Forum. So you can see that what the new normal is going to look like. It's going to be a social change and an economic change and all this stuff. So that's why I don't really care about Canada today anymore. I kind of see it for what it is, and it's like, well, I'm not really going to partake in the lie. I'm happy to live where I live, but I'd make sure I'm happy I live where I live no matter where I fucking live. I'll make my life the best I can, no matter what it takes. So, I mean, whatever. That's kind of the reality anyway, too. You try to go with the crowd and ultimately thinking that you're going to get what you want, but unfortunately the crowds are already responding to someone else's whim anyway, and they just decided that sounded good to them. And maybe some of the things do, but always some of the things don't. And I've talked about this before. This is actually, so our anthem. It's part of the propaganda, right? You have to sing it at the beginning of every day when you go to school in Canada. You have to sing the national anthem, and part of it is strong and free. So that sounds really great, and you fucking repeat it to yourself over the fucking over again. I used to get in trouble for singing the words out of line or making fart noises during it. So that's how serious they take it in school. It's brainwashing to the umpteenth degree. But strong, I would say yes, Canada's actually is strong. It's a world contender and it's never gone down really, in a sense. Free, well, I don't know. The right to rule given to all these kings I'm talking about who came here by proxy to take all this over, and everywhere else that they laid their hands on too. They get that supposedly from God. That's their right to rule, and that's given to them through the Catholic Church, the Pope. The Pope is the vicar of Christ. He's the one that can talk to God and be Christ's representative on earth. So ultimately that should mean that you're going to follow the laws of the Bible. So only over the last couple of years, in over 100 years, have you been allowed to grow your own cannabis for your own personal consumption. And they've always kept it away from you, saying it's illegal and a crime and it causes crimes and this and that and the other thing to keep you away from it. When in reality, it's never been a harmless plant. And if you wanted the crime to go away, you would just allow everybody who wants to use it to just grow it to their own free will and just have at it. But that could never be the way. They're only going to let you grow 4 plants, and if you do more than that, you're a naughty, naughty boy or girl, and you're going to be in trouble for that. So there is no freedom. And yet, in Genesis, it says that God gave us all of the seed-bearing plants and herbs for us to use. Our body knows what to do with them. Cannabis can be used for food or medicine. It's a very versatile plant, and yet, you're only allowed to grow 4 of them even to this day, because they've created it in a legalistic way that you're allowed to have it under their conditions, and that you'll buy and pay for their, chemically induced cannabis, and you'll pay them taxes for it, right? So you're going to give to Caesar what is Caesar's for the privilege of, using a plant that God apparently said that you could just have and use, right? So it's all a bunch of bullshit. It's just a great big control scheme, and it works extremely well. And there's very few thinkers like me and the people that are listening to this channel right now and who've been interested enough to go learn the things that we know, like the things I've been talking about this whole speech here so far, to truly understand what goes on. And that's why I say, too, you have to take your own freedom into your own hands, because you can never get freedom from the government. All you can get is the privilege to do something when they choose to allow you to have it. So there you go. That's my thoughts on the whole fucking shabazzle wing dinger ringer for now. And well, maybe I'll say one more thing actually. And this is maybe a little bit brutal, but if I had my way with all those natives or whoever is burning those Catholic churches down right now, I would actually just eliminate the church altogether. I wouldn't eliminate it in the sense of, like, you know, destroying it, but I would remove it from the country. I would say, you're not allowed to be here anymore. You cause more harm than good. Your priests harm people and they never have to do any time for it. They just get transplanted. Your institutions can go as well. We don't need your schools, and we don't need your social services either. And that's one complaint that I have about the social services. You know, you're supposed to go to them for help, but their help is conditional, right? So I went for like couples counseling because we were having a kid, or maybe, yeah, we were having a kid still. She wasn't here yet. And when they found out that my ex now was still married technically, they refused to help us once that was brought up, because her and I weren't married. She was still married to someone else. So it didn't matter that she was almost 9 months pregnant with my kid, and we'd been together for 4 years. Because the marriage wasn't finalized on paper, they wouldn't help us. So I don't like that. I don't like the way they operate, and you know, that's a human right and violation in my mind. That's just one of the ones they can still get away with. And throughout history, human rights violations has been the way of them, and that's what I ultimately see coming in the future anyway, too. There's going to be some human rights violations coming for this new normal, and most people are going to be trained to like it. So anyway, that's where I'm going to cut it off. So fuck Canada Day. And yeah, fuck the mystery religion. Peace out.